Okay, so here we are. I don't even want to talk about this now. I just want to do fun stuff, but it's not fun in my body right now. I'm feeling just like heavy, unwell, and icky and gross because I have to share my feelings to my therapist. I don't like to share how I feel if it's critical of what the therapist is doing. So, but last session, I go every 3 weeks. So 3 weeks ago, I had brought up a session that was one of the earliest sessions we did. So it was probably like months ago. And, but it was a session that has never left me because I actually got flooded. So I got way past my threshold of anxiety and fear and just terror and all that. I do somatic experiencing therapy. So you're not supposed to overwhelm your nervous system. She wasn't trying to at all. I just got really triggered from the start of the session. My last therapist traumatized me. It was a not good experience. It was not an emotionally safe person. So I think that's maybe what caused me to get so triggered that time. And it was early on and I just wasn't feeling, I didn't have the trust and the safety yet with this person. And then I got so paranoid and I was just, I was on the verge of psychosis. It got really, really, really intense. It's like one of the most intense experiences I've ever had of fear, of almost going into a psychosis. Like I've had this happen one other time I can think of it being similar. And it's my mind starts to flip into a reality that's not the actual reality of what's happening, but it feels very, very real. So anyways, it's hard to talk about. Like I'm not over it because it was really intense, but I didn't talk to her about it for so long because, well, the last counselor, when I shared my feelings about things with her, it went really badly. And like I'd already left her as a counselor. I was just, she called me in to see if we could maybe resolve the vibe, but no, she did a really weird thing. She basically gaslit me and it was weird. It was weird as fuck. So the session before last, I think it was this huge trauma release. So I unlocked so much trauma. And then I think that's where I actually felt comfortable bringing up this like past session with her. During the session, the scary session that happened forever ago. So I got really triggered and I was like flooded, but she encouraged me to stay in the room, but she said you can leave, but I felt pressured to stay. It felt like, I don't know, she was encouraging me to stay. I think the vibe was giving like it was better for me to stay, that maybe, I don't know, with the nervous system, it was going to not be the best to leave. So anyways, I just like felt pressure to stay. And then because just of the trauma and the fawn response too, like I didn't have the balls to leave, even though I fucking should have left. I should have left the fucking room. Like I was not okay. But I stayed. And then it just kept getting worse. So like when she was talking, it just was escalating in my body. And it was really, it's scary. It's like I knew she wasn't shouting at me, but like my hearing got so crazy to where it sounded really, really loud, so loud. And then she started to turn into like the enemy. Like I felt like I was being yelled at, but I knew she wasn't. I was just convincing myself like, this isn't real. This isn't real. And I didn't know what was happening. Just every time she spoke and she was trying to redirect me. So she kept saying things. And every time she would start saying a sentence, it was like a whole new wave of like fear going higher and higher and higher, escalating to where I didn't even know what she was saying. I just remember being like, I don't know what's happening. Sorry. I don't know what's happening. Like she was trying to get me to calm down or help me, but she wasn't helping. I needed to leave. But I was there. So then I said out loud to myself, this is happening because I was gaslit. And then she tried to kind of redirect me saying that. Like something I was doing to like help myself calm down. From what I remember, like I could be wrong. I don't know, because shit was fucked in my brain. From what I remember, she tried to redirect me from doing that, but that was like what was calming me down. And then I felt so stressed. So yeah, and I think I could be getting the order of this wrong. I think I wasn't so escalated when I said that out loud to myself. I got this like really intense, the paranoia and whatever. And then when she tried to kind of redirect me from doing that, then I think it started escalating. And then every time she spoke, it got so intense till luckily she happened to say the sentence, "You don't have to do anything." And I snapped out of it, luckily. But prior to that, I was on the ground because I started the session with I was already overwhelmed and I was just doing what I felt my body needed. So I was on the ground because the very beginning of the session, I sort of just sat myself on the ground and started rocking back and forth to self-regulate. But I felt like icky doing that because I'm not used to doing what I need to do for my body. But anyway, so she tried to just suggest us do something different. But this was before I had the full, no doubt in my mind, realization I have autism, that I've been autistic this whole time. And I was just high masking and everything made sense. I was researching the autism, whatever. So it was interesting because I was like, I didn't even see it as stimming at the time too. I just knew it was like soothing. I don't know. I'm like sweating a bit because this is stressful to talk about. And I can't do it in a linear way because I'm just not calm right now in my body even. So why did I say, okay, I was on the ground? Okay. Cause I needed to explain. So it started with that. It started with her just saying, maybe there's just like your body actually wants to move in a different way instead of me just doing the rocking. I had just, I'm just so used to in my life, like, people just don't do that. No, stop that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And she wasn't trying to do that. She was just trying to do the somatic experiencing therapy for the trauma. But it's like I had the balls to just like sit myself down on the ground and not ask permission. Can I sit on the ground? I just like, the couch is stupid. I don't want to sit up in the couch. I just like, I don't like the dynamic of the therapy to begin with. And I just felt comfortable there. So anyway, so then things started getting like triggered just from the get-go, from her suggesting to not do that, I guess. And then, so before she ended up eventually saying, "You don't have to do anything," which is what snapped me out of losing my fucking mind. She thought it was helpful for her to sit down on the ground with me. Like she thought maybe her being above me was triggering me more. I kind of like, I went nonverbal in a way. I couldn't even, I just was so fucking stuck in a fear response too, that I couldn't even say things, so, but she was trying to help me, but it was not helping. It was actually making it worse, I think. And then she thought that I calmed down because she sat down on the ground with me, because she had done that before, like right before she had said, "You don't have to do anything." But I told her I calmed down because she said, "You don't have to do anything." I don't know if I told her, I might've told her like at the end of that session, or maybe it was like the next session. I told her that's why I calmed down, or I don't know. I told her at some point after, like, I just don't feel believed too, because the therapists are trained they're supposed to analyze you. And then I feel like I just feel like they're used to, or the way they're trained is that the client isn't as self-aware or bodily self-aware of what's going on with their own nervous system or whatever. And they're the one having to like pick up on cues and analyze it and figure out my nervous system and what makes me more triggered and what calms me down. But like, I knew it wasn't her sitting on the ground. If anything, she was like closer to me, and that was more uncomfortable probably. It was when she said that sentence, you don't have to do anything. So anyways, that session happened a while ago. And then I brought it up months later. I brought it up. Maybe I had briefly touched on it a different session, but I brought it up last session, and then she said, and that was resolved. And that shit has triggered me, and I have delayed processing. So it's like in the session when she said that, from my memory, that's what she said. She said, and that was resolved. I ended up just telling her, like, you have to understand though, like I said, I know I already said this, but like what I gave her the info of, like, when you said you don't have to do anything, that's how I calmed down. And then I was just saying how I think I felt just about the, like, it would have been better for me to leave, but I didn't even directly say that. I think eventually she's like, oh, are you saying what you need or that you need to leave? I think she's, fuck. Yeah. I can't even explain this. I was advocating for myself and what I need. And then she did say, because I said, I have always stayed though. The issue with my trauma is I feel trapped, and I think it would help me complete the survival response to have left. And then she did say, yes, there may be a completion that is you leaving, but we wouldn't want you to do it right away. We'd want you to imagine leaving first. And she wants to do it on her terms. This is how she's been trained, but it is so triggering to me and actually not what I need. So it takes so much for me to say what I need. Like I was too scared to do it with the last counselor. And then when I did it, it went really, really bad. So when I'm asking for something, and then when she doesn't think it's the best thing to do, it just can just be really intense for me. I said I would like to know what we're doing and why, and she thought that would defeat the purpose in a way or something. It's just, I just can't. So I have therapy tomorrow, and I need to have a conversation. I need to bring up that session from forever ago that I got really triggered, because I feel like she just doesn't understand. I told her last session I tried to get her to believe how intensely triggered I was, how stressful it was for me, because I was flooded. And then, I think it would have been best for me to have left, but it's like, I want to know why. I have been too scared to ask her questions. I've been too scared to just be like, I'm wondering why you think it was resolved. Why do you think it was resolved? The thing that triggers me so much about that, it's like a simple little sentence. I don't think she meant harm by it, but it's actually quite dismissive. It's very dismissive to my nervous system. It's like, oh, I'm just bringing this up for fun. I'm just bringing this up for shits and giggles, right? I'm just like, no reason. It's just, I can't handle this, that, it's seen as unnecessary. Anything I bring up has a purpose, I feel, in therapy. And so why I'm thinking about that session, why I'm talking to you about it, and it's for a reason. And it takes so much for me to even voice any of these feelings about a thing. It's like, it took months still of healing and healing more trauma layers to even feel comfortable enough to bring up the session and say how uncomfortable I had felt and my feelings about it. And we worked through it. Like, I stayed in the room that session and I calmed down, but then it just hasn't left my psyche and body. Like, I just feel I have felt very unwell with her response to me talking about it. So something's there, obviously, because I don't want it to fucking happen again, because it was lucky. I don't know what the fuck would have happened if she didn't say that sentence when she said it. You don't have to do anything. Like, I was flipping in my mind, she was becoming the enemy. It like felt like she was yelling at me when I knew she wasn't, but shit was getting real fucked. And I couldn't be around a person. I didn't know her well enough either. I just started working with her. So stranger to me, I have to be alone. It's the best for me to be alone. So, I just really especially don't like though that my trauma is being controlled. And so I know she might think for the therapy, it's best to not like abruptly do things like to just immediately leave. And I should imagine leaving first or tell her what I'm going to do and don't do it yet until I have her permission a way to do it. Obviously I can like, she's not forcing me at all anyway, but I didn't want to disappoint her. I wanted to do the therapy properly. Another thing last session I brought up is with the autistic realization, I said, not sure how the therapy is going to work with that. And she said, well, I just work directly with the nervous system. So basically it doesn't matter. It's no difference. But, I looked it up and it did say it'd be very likely something like that. It would be likely to that the person with the autism would need modifications to the somatic experiencing therapy. Like it's not just the exact same, but she had confidently just said, it just doesn't always go well too when you tell the therapist information. Sometimes the egos be egoing and then they think you're trying to tell them how to do their job, or they want to be the one in the power position. The hierarchy of it all, I just fucking can't. Like, I feel like there's a lot of counselors, a lot of therapists that, unfortunately, some of them get into the biz because they are fucking narcissists. Like, it's the job. It's one of the jobs for a narcissist to feel like they are in that superior position, right? This therapist does not seem like that at all. It doesn't seem like she has that type of ego or anything. But if you like, I don't know, cross the line too much with that standard boundary of therapist client or something, I don't know what's going to happen. But she's been like proud of me, it seems, to advocate for myself or to negotiate boundaries. Like we've worked on boundaries. And so I just need to have stronger boundaries. I need to stay true to my boundaries and not just let her I just have to fully just because she doesn't think it's the best thing to do, I'm just going to be like, well, no, I still disagree. Because she didn't want to, this is all over the place. I can't remember. I think I touched on this. I asked to know what we're doing and why. And, I said this, she thought it would defeat it was like, she didn't want to tell me what we're doing and why, but I need to just, I need to stay strong in my need to know what and what. Let's just try it. If it gets me too much in my head and it's not working and it's actually counterintuitive, then we won't do it. But can we just try it? I don't usually say my fucking needs. I just do what the other person thinks. Okay, this is an example. I went to this breathwork workshop. And for an hour straight or something like that, we were supposed to do ocean breath. So just continuous, like deep breaths. There's not really a start or finish. It's just a flow. It's just a consistent in and out like that. For some reason, because I'm a people pleaser, or I feel I've just been traumatized a certain way. Like, I asked permission of the facilitator. She came over to me because I looked really uncomfortable. I was actually just feeling really self-conscious. And this is before the autistic realization. It's just like in a room with all these people. It could be the trauma. It could be a mix of the trauma or the autism, whatever it is. But I just felt uncomfortable, I guess. And I was just having a tough time. I guess she could tell. So she came over. I was like, are you okay? You look uncomfortable, something like that. And then I asked her, I guess I asked permission. I'm I'm a fucking grown adult. I'm a grown adult, but I'm traumatized. I've been traumatized. I've healed most of the trauma now, but at the time was very much still traumatized, very much. I asked if I could do breath holds to not do what she had instructed us to do, but do my own fucking thing. I said, I'm being called to do breath holds. And then she fucking misdirected me out of that. She directed me out of that. She told me, I don't think she's outright said no, but she was like, it's like I wasn't allowed. And then I fucking didn't do it because she thought I shouldn't or told me to not do that. It just is like crazy. It's crazy. So I'm very wary now, especially. I'm very wary of other people just telling other people what to do in general, and then shutting down if the other person voices, this works for me, or I would like this or whatever. It can take so much when you've been traumatized. It can take so much to even just like advocate or share your needs or what you feel. And so for it to just be shut down, annoying. And yeah, I'm curious to know why she thought that session was resolved. How the fuck would she know though? Because she's not in my body. But I'm curious why she thinks so. Probably because of what she saw on the outside, and that I did manage to come out of the intense freaking just terror, absolute fucking terror. And then I do so much processing on my own because I have to. That's the way. There's shit that I was never going to heal in the presence of another person. So I do my own self-therapy. I do my own self-somatic therapy at my own fucking house. But I don't tell the therapist that because I did mention I was doing something we had just done in session, which was just be aware of my body, basically like feel how my back feels on the couch. And just I was working on stillness at the time before I fully realized the autism, and that stimming for me is the fucking way. But I was like forcing myself to be still, or I don't know. I was just being mindful. I was doing like mindfulness with my body. I don't know. She just was really, really cautioned me because she had a client that was doing stuff on her own. I think she was watching somatic videos and doing stuff on her own, and it can just go haywire because you don't know what's going to come up or whatever it is. But that's not what it is for me. I am always researching. I'm working through my feelings. I'm processing. I do a lot on my own. I'm just not that client that I have to wait for the therapist to direct everything or it's going to get too crazy. It's like, no, it gets crazy with the fucking therapist. It gets crazy with the therapist. It gets like real sketch, and I actually need to be alone. So I don't tell her this other stuff as much. I might just share, I made this boundary with this person, but I don't say like, yeah, I just, the other weekend I basically overcame the fear of death. I overrode my fear response, guys. It's pretty insane. That's like why I stayed in the room. That's why when I was just absolute terror, feel like I'm going to die, I stay in a room when I would feel better to not be in that room. And it's like, if I left, I wouldn't feel like I was going to die anymore, but I just don't want to disappoint her. So I can override my fear response. Like I can feel like I'm going to die and then just trust that I'm not. Just blind faith it. Complete blind, like my body's like, no, we're dying. So, like leave the situation. But, yeah, I can override that. So that's why I feel she might not be understanding what's going on, or I look way more fine than what's actually happening. So I actually feel better talking about this. I was just feeling so heavy. My appointment's tomorrow at 4:30 in the afternoon. I hate also it being more near the end of the day. I have to wait all day. It's been 3 weeks. Like it's been 3 weeks that I've been needing to say these things to her, and just the anticipation of it, the anticipatory anxiety. My body is like stressed. It's like, remember, this isn't safe. When you did this last time, it actually went to absolute shit, and you felt really bad. You felt like really, it just, yeah, it, so my body will not be feeling the most comfortable until it happens. So I'm just ready for it to fucking happen. And I was going to edit a different video today to post, but I'm consumed by this heavy, icky feeling in my body because my body thinks, don't do this. It's not safe to share your feelings, but it is now. I will not abandon myself. I don't want to go into fawn response in the session because up until now, I be fawning. At some point, I be masking still. So if it starts to not go the best, I just don't want to go into fawn response, people please, and just, say stuff to just be really compliant. And then, cause I don't want to have to wait another fucking 3 weeks to say it. But, I just didn't have access to these full-fledged, feelings of also like advocacy. So like the last session, I didn't even realize how affected I was till after. It takes days sometimes, or months even, to realize how actually I was, woo. So anyways, I'm just going to abruptly end it as I usually do. That's just my rant. And okay, I'm leaving now. Okay, bye.